escape group here, and you may notice I'm in the main menu, and we're not in the lead. Well, I have bad news involving the current New Maryland series. Well, due to save issues and the fact that due to the political path that Wingboy went down, that the Republic, though that we were doing all our work to be able to ally, he joins that pact, so it's literally impossible to continue that. Besides the fact that because I'm going to be starting over the campaign. However, the thing is, I can either start over completely and redo the Kingfisher path, or I can go and do a different path entirely in New Maryland. So that in the description you'll find a straw poll with some options so that I'm leaving open for choice between 3 different paths that I believe would work the best for this concerning the situation. However, because that I am actually going to go and be playing as something else. Someone else, though, for now until after until about a week from now. Or actually, till after 3 days after this video comes up, I'm gonna go check the straw poll results and see what you guys choose for New Maryland. However, one choice is going. However, this is a key thing that's going to affect this. I am going to leave 2 communist options, 1 fascist option, 1 non-aligned option. And the thing is, for the communists, though, whichever one's if it ends up being a communist, whichever one of those individually has more votes will win, though. But all the communist votes together will override the other 2 paths if they have more votes in total than the non-aligned and the fascist paths have in total. And then the same thing applies for the fascist and the non-aligned between them. As a politics between the right and the left, though, on that. So choose your votes carefully. But because of that, I am actually not going to be playing in the... I'm actually not going to play in the south of Equestria at all. Well, I meant the south of Equestria at all. Not even close. Instead, I am actually going to be doing a specific path. For Serenation. And they only recently got their focus tree, so that's why I'm actually going to be doing this one. And it is a bit of a challenge. So, yeah. I'm going to playing as Barcon. Nah, I'm just joking again. I'm not playing them at all. Like, I'm playing it someone next to the hard one again. I checked it for a second, didn't I? No, instead, I am playing Katerin. And I am aware that most paths are... well, the Harmony path is fun. Very fun. However, it doesn't go beyond that, and it's just and it really is just keeping the scene where it is related to the Republican Republic, but I don't think there's anything beyond that. And so I'm not choosing the Republican path for Katerin. And I'm gonna be doing another isolationist nation in the Hearthstone. I am gonna go and live up to the Californian Empire's name, but just keep in mind, you'll be surprised when the time comes for what the tree looks like. Alright, let's go. Yeah, we start as the second backwater. Katerin and Oregon are, in my opinion, the most difficult nations, except maybe the Griffin Marsh here, President's Republic there. Except them. In my opinion, these two are the backwater of the Marsh. This one's arguably more so of a backwater national spirit-wise, but industry-wise, they're not as bad as cattle. And also tech-wise, I think there might be a little ahead of because we start with like almost nothing. This is mad. Feels awkward thing to say for it. Princess. Ever since the evolution on the lost survivor child of the previous region has never learned to ascend the throne at the age of 7 after her family's death. She was died by advisors and powerful nobles. He's not only making power, but they even remember the power they had back then. See, the Regency is actually this political party. No matter what happens with Katerin, you change rulers. Because she's not fit to rule.
Ihre Befehle
is up to interpretation. Depends entirely on everyone she kind of has power is still likely is the Katerin problems I'm not doing. Or some
Ihre Befehle?
Mainly because they were isolations just like the Barons was when they went back. There we go. I can probably keep that on as long as I keep things alone. But yeah. Alright, so and meanwhile, today is a December Prince. As Miriam Katerin called for regret and Bob Hillary Captain. However, she's not impressed by me. She's all that existed. In response, she had numerous griffins pulled from the principality to tear down the oldest of them and construct a new grand hall. However, with little time to plan, they didn't complete the project down to Happy. Based on designs that made years ago, while laborers worked a single day with no rest until it was completed. That's when it how these faced the wrath of the princess Elsia. By the end of it, most workers had vanished, been executed, or simply worked to death. But the princess had her ball. Don't lose your head on the dance floor. Yep, that always happens. And this is important here, this exact thing. Oh, a dinner with glitter hoof. Ah, the best run CK2 ever made in any other game. Yes. And had been working the last day, managing the principality. His name was attack. That's after all. Take the day off from duties, enjoy a glitter hoof. Dining hall in a palace had been received for this occasion to make sure to only the best delicacies for glitter hoof. And with the reasons for dinner complete, the time had come for a date with glitter hoof to begin. The hall itself was decorated in the most lavish manner possible, with colored banners adorning the walls and portraits of history's honored ancestors watching over the dining table. The appetizers, lieutenant's meal already adored to the table, as well as the palace's and those orders spared no expense in preparing today's feast. The princess entered the dining hall. Those around her were showing these stresses. Fingers took a seat at the end of the table. As she took her seat, she spotted a clear cliff on the opposite end of the table. The skull was freshly polished for the occasion, and he even had a rather extensive-looking hat on. The princess quickly deciding to start conversation with her. "Kate, how are you doing great? Eating the feast." Then as her second, she said, the skull wasn't very talkative. The lack of reply from Gurkov did little to the princess, but she cheerfully continued to speak. "Oh, my, and see that you haven't eaten tuts or seen another meal. Don't worry, dear. I'll make sure that the cooks are suitably polished for serving food and so antithetical to your taste." The rest of the day went pretty much the same way. Princess having a seemingly because he talked to the skull, the palace's guard could do little but watch from the cooks. They best make themselves disappear before the meal is over. It's really the best use of time. Like I said, and in when I was doing even though this is supremacy has started on here, yeah, I have to say this. This is the most entertainingly insane insanity of all the nations here, except maybe Yale's communist path. But well, when you get further in and don't actually finish it, that's a little bit less insane than this, though. Katerin, he actually kills people. She just rules like insane in person, and no matter what. Let's go. Formation of the Katerin. There's always been those who knew to make themselves useful to the powers that be, and Katerin was no exception. And when by then 7-year-old Tuzla was crowned, of reasons the council had been created to make sure that the affairs of the state flowed smoothly, even though their legal ruler was a child. They had been advisors only, quickly bring their loyalty to the rightful princess, even as she slips deeper and deeper into madness. They were loyal griffins after all. They were true. Yet true to what? Meetings under cover of darkness. The assembly of the highest nobles of the land made this question sadly that night. They were still advisors, respected members of the council, but that wasn't enough anymore. Thea was becoming more and more unpredictable and confused. And for the good of them all, it was time for them to more direct control of the affairs of Katerin. They were loyal griffins, but they were true to Katerin above all things. For Katerin. Let's expand them. This means surface illness. suffering, needing the rumors are telling that plague struck the city and and time for the plague. Like I said, Katerin is a different nation, but has its benefits compared to, or they have something going for them other than that, which is the political strength they have in terms of options. And more importantly, they can actually organize themselves very, very quickly compared to the barony. They would do it with glitter. The invitation was sent out for the ball, had been at very short notice, but they were all the same. The vast majority of nobility turned up, and there are a few safe reasons to ignore the princess after all. Yet, at first it seemed that they were blessed with a relative normalcy. If it was as lavish as it ever been, their entertainment, fine indeed, even as all seemed to be in one for good moods. Even if she had that skull close by at all times. As the evening's entertainment was mentioned, some of them noticed that Lizard had departed, yet no one thought too much of it. As it turned out, though, the entertainment was provided by the princess. Stepping onto the stage, she began to sing, accompanied by the swing quartet next to the stage. She had a voice. You would question that, but her PC sang was a duet. And they saw no one else up on the stage. I'll show you how this goes. But surely she cannot. Oh, Boris. As it turned out, she could. As Yo's part ended, she turned to look at her skull, holding it aloft as the crowd. A silence settled over the entire hall except for the accompanying music that played through the second floor. She was picking up that third, and she was aware of the fact that she was performing in front of a mortified crowd of nobles that only wanted to sink through the floor and disappear. She didn't show it, only carrying on through all 18 of the verses. Please let this end. The events of Katerin, ladies and gentlemen, they are comedy gold. In terms of how messed up they are. Now, the situation. The Kane settlement lies south of the capital. The city itself seems to be a representative of Katerin as a whole. His glories are long behind it, with the years of neglectful rule and exploitation having taken a heavy toll from the once bordering settlement. The once proud walls of the keep have been in a state of perpetual despair for the last 20 years, doing little to discourage any potential attack. The state itself has grown far beyond the boundary of the walls, with villagers fleeing from the bandits and the plague, taking refuge in an ever-expanding network of tents and shanties. The city is in ruins. All that remains is its decaying cadaver, and the vultures have come to feast. With a constant stream of refugees to the city, it was inevitable that a plague had come to bear fruit. If the city, and more importantly its inhabitants, are to be saved, then effective action must be taken. When the news of the plague arrived at the capital, the orders of Mr. Reign to secure the city, and what was known as orders having served the principality with a great zeal for centuries, dedicated to upholding a tradition of chivalry which goes back hundreds of years. Two major orders have established themselves in their principality, but they volunteered for the task. Firstly, there was the Iron Bull, a rumor read by There's it. By onboard Hector Orderdine will act as sword and shield of the common griffin, having to make Eliza presence as comfortable as possible given the circumstances. Desires to calmly and carefully take control of the city. As indeed to common folk, preventing those too sick to survive a merciful and peaceful end. Then your Katerin, the Worlds, I can't pronounce that at all, has also volunteered for a task led by the French Grandmaster Eric Grimclaw, the foremost objective of the Arga something I can't pronounce is to pull the blade out by its roots and claiming the Deadlands Academy for the Empire. What they lack in experience, they make up for in zeal, and they seek to drag the plague from the city as quickly as possible, minimizing risk of infecting the populace. Of course, the orders could always be dismissed. Garrison given the task given for Snow. The garrison was already small and poorly maintained. If a blade hit, there's no telling what methods they may resort to. Nope. No. Intervene. Because we get more of our region's popularity ever so slightly. And now let's legalize banditry. Yes! Like I said, this nation is completely insane. Now, the trip to Katerin Library. The princess had been sitting in the library for most of the day, devouring books as she was wont to her more peaceful moments. It had turned into a ritual for the castle. A few of the guaranteed peace as their invested in the books of distant lands or strange mysteries to absorb her soul. Today, this piece was shattered, though as usual came running out of the library. Summoning guards, ordering them to bring everyone to the library to enjoy it as well. The pattern was all too familiar. Princess had gotten an idea and wanted it executed. Unless you wanted to be the one executed, you obeyed. And soon, hundreds, indeed thousands of griffins from our country were marched from their homes into the great library. They were told to read the books by the armed guards. Visitors standing on the second floor oversaw the entire crazy affair, rarely pointing out griffins seemingly insufficiently overjoyed by her gesture of kindness and ordering them whipped. Yikes! In the end, a few literate commoners was around, ready to grab the nearest book, forming reading circles with others clustering around them to listen, hoping that they could satisfy their insane mood. Isn't reading fun, everyone? Everyone should do this! For literacy, replace with modest literacy. As terrible as it is, that was actually effective to fix the issue. To help fix that issue. Surprisingly enough, that actually helped. Oh, I don't know how that got to there. Yeah, let's go. Okay, let me check something here, because I need to check that. Alright, the alchemist returns to the princess. This Princess Katerin held court every single day. Do you hear? Please, for subjects. On paper, that is. In reality, it's court. In the rare few days she decides to show up to it. Is a strange and unnerving proceeding. Most of the nobles avoid making any more than a token appearance at them, as any slight interaction with the princess had the potential for a lethal result. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to her actions. Asking her to judge on anything was an disaster. To take a recent example, a Griffin who had lost all of his belongings, beds, presents repentance for not having protected his own property. Only the truly desperate approached the mad princess, and she presented a report, which made all the stranger when Griffin fit in the ladies. Griffin started posting her openly. Posting sales script hailed from Yale, and an operated in Katerin for a time many decades ago, as the court alchemist for the princess's father, the aged Griffin. Carry with him a suitcase. He was in it were 3 vials he hoped would at least soothe the princess for a while. The alchemist proceeded to present the vials to the princess, and he made it clear to her that only one could be chosen, as mixing ingredients rarely had good results. Firstly, there was a vial from the north. It had the most weird color the court had ever seen, and so as the liquid was within the vial. Changed pattern, seemed to vigor. Fluid, if unlike that long enough, which I found south, she in after Mrs. Laboratory with Argavir. So that's one all the way down here. Dark green liquid within seemed to move on its own, swirling around within the vial, even known outside forces was high, the vial itself was something touch, and it was clear that the liquid was far from dormant, though there was something to drink. Lastly, there is one that vial had from us. Unlike the others, this liquid seemed completely inert. It's completely clear, colorless, like a sort of odorous peak up, no matter how when the vial was studied, but the notables it seemed to be different. Dripping on perhaps was fighting the liquids. Liquids presented time after the princess to use the vial from the south. Yep, that actually was the right one. That gives us more stability temporarily and a good amount of research speed. He's got southern medicine. No, I'm missing. This might be an option when we finally open things up. Or not. Understanding Katerin is a second nation, plagued by ills, and crime, and authority is faltering because of grief. Since are becoming more unrulier every day, to frenzy by radical creatures and revolutionaries, and letting orders are beginning to grumble for lack of true leadership. We, the Katerin, only put ourselves to this nation. We swear to reaffirm the rightful authority of the land, to uphold the order that is the foundation of our civilization, and to purge all those who sullied it by treason, citizen, or revolution. We are Katerin's strength. Though our struggle, the nation shall be reborn, is what is meant to be preserved. Time for some bad things, though. Also, time to salute. Have a sleep after this. I'm gonna wait for a while to do that. And we're in chaos. When orders to calm the merchant, many of the Solomon's reversed himself deep in the moment for compassion and sympathy for the lower class is a Katerin of Hunter. Rival gave the desperate populace as a glimmer of hope that exists in this game. It was quick to offer. I'm immensely pleased that it was now someone else's problem. If he was short and forward, across the city, when restoring the order to streets with efficiency. It is not good. Yes, not without compassion. The disease from healthy and allowed their bodies in peace. Ease by his efforts. Areas is the objective. They seek to establish the cause behind the Jason and mysterious plague that Katerin is supposed to run. If there's some graph, if not with infection and it was managed to arrive in the city. So this seems we must find the root cause. Oh god. Now for the bad thing. The solution to the bad issue. Von Berg had summoned the council before her. The tone of the message, the directness with which it happened, and why she was having a lucid moment, which could pull her both well and ill. Something the council members knew all too well. As they entered, Israel met them, a seat in her throne, the skull of hers resting in her lap, and her face cooled calm on her face, which only made them more nervous. I had called you here to speak on a matter of Banshee that's plaguing our nation. He said readily, our armed forces are spread too thin, and the longer we struggle with this, the weaker our grip becomes on the nation. I have therefore decreed elected from this day to solve this issue. As of today, the NSP agents are now drafted into the service of Katerin's tax collectors and soldiers. As long as they pay their dues to the crown, the activities can continue as they are, and our soldiers can be freed from more pressing matters. The chamber fell silent, no one speaking up. For the Minister of Justice, who I have been bolting out of his head, slowly kneeled beside, laying on the floor with his eyes rolled back as it was. Does anyone help? Temperature madness! Yay! That's not actually told mad. It's like down for that. It's most of the day. The streets of Hamburg were filled with friends today, all having ordered out of their houses to wait the train station to greet the not everything Grover, the fifth emperor, other from the empire. As the train pulled in, they heeded by occasionally John von Hamburg. Entering the encouraged by armed police to express to see reverence for the emperor. Yeah, Mr. Grover did not come out of the train, and only appearing in the window, waving to Grover says something inside, but 2 armed knights inside the car. The princess was faced with a pale, worn Grover who sat heavily in his seat, invited her to sit down, who had worshipped the emperor since he reclaimed the throne, and in her mind punished the revolutionaries, sat quietly down for him. Listeners, with in silence to Grover as he spoke to make much more of a conversation. And after a few minutes, Grover ordered her to depart to his health, but I wished her well. After merely 5 minutes, the Emperor's state visit was over. Soon was left standing in his ages in silence as they departing the train to Sunzi must have anything thinking this. He was like, oh, but look, you explain the reason for anyone. Let's get out of our ways before she recovers. Check here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and make this like a 40-minute episode. Screw it. His maples. This plague during the time for complete Grandmaster effective. Minds, request for additional aid. Come by the plague, or saying see. Everyone you can upgrade. The Katerins were coming as well as operating orders. Merely the Katerin that found themselves trapped within the Star Race member of the Council lobby. So Snake 6 Nation deadlock born regarding the circuit. So the council will accept having their estates plundered by robbers who put the sorcerers from elsewhere in the project and hopefully could either Katerin or dialogue as everyone place their domains while what's going on there. So discuss at least. Hands of or Victor from the series here. Oh, you elected. Cool. How Katerin this time to go on a week messenger away from the creature is the marsh is in person to the princess you get Learnberg, the princess's cousin, who is a member of the Knights of Helpful in the performance then. Probably Bradley told her that her cousin was now at Mr. Helpful, however, he seems to care little, merely smiling a bit. But then, as if he remembered something, he said, oh, I almost forgot onion ring. It's my wetting as well. Jesus, guess I don't know if no one what wetting she was talking about before she revealed her plans to the unicorns go with her give it to her years ago. She ordered the messenger deliver and tasting would be held in a week. after weeks of ceaseless work. The efforts of born fruits and ruins and hospitals for the sick and dying, they the decision was getting into chaos. Steed at several points, volunteer nights at into most of the city blocks, stay the people there, see their worlds, and let them stay together, care for each other, and not spread the disease any further. And while May has caught this and got to put plague themselves, May these nights stop. Recent medical knowledge and tireless efforts had stopped the plague from spreading. As the situation stabilizes, women have been preparing to depart to get this one nice, to keep an eye out for any additional outbreaks of plague. This is our enemy to fight for the people and their duties done. Here's it as the message return. Earlier, Vixen was gone, replaced with fear, as he was afraid and terrified, and the belief with which the princess received him did not help. Sharon was at something she asked him, Wingy, her child was looking for a cousin, but arrived when the Messenger finally managed to give the news that he's not going to show up, but he fast. This was silent in range. But the choosing themselves, the messenger rushed out in order to be offering the princess straight for it. Retreating the person. See that? Quarters. They all grab the nearest piece of decoration. The person goes racing through it. And the wall went off for a might explosive. They continue for hours. And there's some last piece of chambers as well as piece of furniture. The serpents in the castle entered until well after the screaming and crying had stopped. They were sitting on the floor. Lying to herself, she went on the floor, close and joined her close, very quiet room, to listen to her whimper before retreating, choosing to spread what she is breathed out and on and sit in there and to challenge her off friendly ties to help her, or is cut off with any help coatings within the ancient borders. Treating that person non grata from now on. Also, this was wedding between Billy Cook and so this was proposed for a foreseeable future. It was, after all, the princess agreement. I had me when I in the world betrays me. I have to rejected. Now, as for his help, so I'm guessing after this step, so I'm gonna go and. Oh, look at this room. Alright. Pre-lated. Nice and into prisons, really put outside, live soldiers, would have open fire, but not for themselves the front of Katerin. It's pretty late. Just by there stood between the soldiers and the crowd. Covering his walking staff as flag them down. 7 alien soldiers from the Imperial United firing on. Who among you full authority? He commanded the guards. Where is your captain? He's firm. Made the question to the royal guard captain came out. Ordering him to respect. You claim no authority over me or people Katerin. Or then what those you have? Well, despair snapped in response, leaving the entire line. Soldiers just sit in fear. Unless madness has spread through the castle, the masters are still sane enough to understand their actions. They may cower behind fragile claims to authority, but the gods see. The gods see, and the gods will judge them. As will the people if they push hard enough. Woe unto your masters, for those who play a fire will get burned. Unless your cowardice is absolute as your masters, tell them this. The people are watching. Ooh, that's always most harm. I've seen I don't want to game this influence. Good question. Well, that's gonna be the end of this episode.